Okay, so you can do, like I said, you can do this anytime. I've got the doors and windows added, but even if you don't have any of those, as long as you've got the 4 main walls and maybe the walls for the extension, even without the roof, you can then go and set up your sheets. Alright, so looking in the project browser, you need the project browser to be there. Remember, if you've closed it, you can get it on the View tab and then User Interface, where you'll see I've got a tick next to Project Browser. And then, as long as you can see your project browser, you should be able to scroll down to the bottom and see there's a Sheets category which has a plus next to it, and if you click on that, you'll probably see that it has one sheet there already. And that's something you'll get used to in Revit. You'll see when you use the Australian template, or any of the others actually, it'll have that default sheet. I'm going to double click to open it, and you'll see it's got a title block. So it's called A101 Unnamed. So you need to find that sheet in Sheets All. And again, looking at this title block, you'll see it's at the moment unnamed. There's the sheet number, got all the other details there. It's got this logo in it, promoting Revit. We don't really want that. So I'm going to delete this sheet right away, just by right clicking on that name, and you can go to delete, and we'll make a new one. So you don't need to keep that default sheet. It's easy to bring it back if you want it again, but I don't want it. So the basic process used to make new sheets is to right click where it says Sheets All. That's the easiest way. So right on top of that name, Sheets All, then you can choose New Sheet. So that's the most important step to remember. To make a sheet, that's always going to be the easiest way. There's another option on the View tab. You'll find there's a button that does the same thing, but it's usually easy just to go to it in the project browser. Again, right click on Sheets All, choose New Sheet, and you'll get this dialog box. And so you should see there the title block that was just deleted. I don't want that, so I'm going to use Load to bring in some new ones. Right, so clicking Load, then you'll see if we go to that library I've just shown you, it'll have more title blocks. But I'm going to, instead of using the shortcut I've just shown you, you can use the shortcut if you've got it there, but I'm going to browse again just to make sure you know where it is. Up the top using the browser, I'll go to P, Interior Design, and then Revit Library. And you'll see there is a title blocks folder. I'll open that up, and we have then larger selection of title blocks than you'll have in the initial starting library. So, yeah, it gives you a few more options, and that's why I'd copy, even if you don't want the whole library, because I know it's big and takes a while to copy. You can just take that folder. It's a lot smaller, and that'll give you a lot of sheets to start with that can be tricky to make on your own if you don't have this starting point. So we've got here a few different A3 sheets, which you can see there. Clicking on each, you can see the thumbnail open on the right. Now I've got some backups in there. I'm going to delete that while I'm at it. You don't want the backups? Oh yeah, so just browse up the top to that folder I just showed you. So again, where it says look in, and you can choose a folder, choose the P drive, and then Interior Design, Revit Library. Oh, don't worry about that. Just see if you can do this next part. I'll come over and have a look at that previous part. So it's back a few steps, but we'll... Okay, so I'll just go ahead and choose one of these title blocks. You can see here there are a few different A3 sheets, like I was saying. And that's a good size for a building this size. And so I'm going to go for the A3 metric DCE 2012. So I'll just double click on that. And then clicking OK, it's going to give me a title block with that set up. Yeah, that one, but you can easily change that. So you can change the logo. It's really easy to change.
So can you import your own logo?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yep. And you can change the title block anytime to another one in that library really easily as well. So I'll show you how to do that afterwards. But as long as you've got a sheet, don't worry if it's not the one you want in the end. The main thing is that you have the page size that you want. And then really the main thing I want to show you after you make that sheet is how to get the views onto it. So you can see I've gone in the project browser back up the top to show the floor plans, and I'm simply going to try dragging from there onto the sheet. And you'll see it's showing me a big window, so once I'm happy I'll click to place it, and the plan's now on the sheet, but if you zoom out you'll see that it might seem larger than the page. And that's the most common problem people have when they're working in Revit at first and setting up the sheets. You'll have a lot of extra things that you maybe don't want. And so in this case we've got these elevation symbols which make the view bigger than it needs to be. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few tricks to help you avoid that. I'll delete this. It doesn't matter, you can delete a view from a sheet anytime, just pressing delete on the keyboard after you've selected it. So I'll press delete now. I'm going to open that view up and tidy it up a bit so that things are easier to see. So the elevation symbols, they're a useful thing, and later on we'll look at using those, but for now I just want to hide them. So I've gone back into my floor plan. This is my level 1 floor plan, and I'm going to select one of those, and notice I'm selecting the whole thing with a window. There are actually a few different objects in that symbol. So I've made a window around it, and I'm going to right click and go to hide in view category. And now having a look at the plan, when I zoom right out you'll see there's nothing outside it, it's just got the plan itself. I maybe don't want the reference planes to show as well, so I'll select one of those, and then again I'll right click and go to hide in view category. So you can see it's a really good way of tidying things up. Now you can hide individual elements. I'll just bring something in quickly, like a maybe a tree, just something random. So you might have seen the trees in the library, just like the windows and doors. You can easily just choose those and place them. But perhaps I don't want these to show on this drawing. So instead of hiding all trees, I can select one of them, right click and go to hide in view elements, which will just hide the one I've selected. Exactly, yeah. So I'll hide both of these though, or maybe we'll leave that from there. Okay, so back onto my sheet now. You can see again there's a plus now next to sheets all at the bottom because I've made a sheet. So I click on the plus, double click on the page, and again try dragging that plan onto the sheet now. Yep, just click and drag, that's right. Okay, so you can see that's much smaller and easily it's going to fit on the sheet. Okay, so that's working reasonably well, but you can see there the section line goes a bit into the title block, and the tag down the bottom is maybe a little low. So I want to adjust this now. You don't always need to delete the drawing from the sheet. I just did that to show you a trick. It helps to resize that label. But at any point you can go back into your original drawings and adjust them. So you might have seen with your section lines, you can always select those and change the length of that line by using the grips. So I'll bring that in a bit closer to the building so it's not going to take up as much room. This one as well. That'll do. And now I'll go back to open the sheet up, and you'll see it's made that change. So any change you make to your plans and other drawings automatically are updated onto your sheet. So if you select the view, you can always use the arrows on the keyboard to move it on your sheet instead of dragging. And then the final thing, down the bottom, you can see this tag. One of the kind of hidden settings in Revit is the way you move this label or this tag. If I select the whole plan there, or the view, that's called a viewport, just like it is in AutoCAD, the whole thing's going to move with the tag, with the label. I just want to move the label, and so the trick for that is to just deselect everything, click into an empty spot, and then you can select the tag by itself. And it will move separately. So I'm just using the arrow keys now on the keyboard to nudge that up. Yeah, your views, because your view's really big, zoom out and you'll find it. There it is down the bottom. So the trick there, just delete that from the sheet and put it back on. So you can always just select that whole. Yep, click on it, hit delete on the keyboard. Yeah, just delete the whole thing, drag it back on, and that'll resize the tag, and it's just easier to start from that point and adjust it afterwards. Alright, so I'll do that again with the next level. It'll be the same process, so it's a good chance just to repeat that. So now going to my floor plan for level 2, you'll see again I've got these elevation symbols out in space, a long way from the building. So again, I'm going to select one of them, right click, hide in view, category. My section view is far too long, so I'll stretch that back closer to the building. The tree is going to get in the way, so I'll hide it. Yep, sure. The section line, just make sure you click on the line, not the arrow. So click on the line there, and then use the grips to stretch. Just try selecting it, just let me see there. If you click on the line, there we go, and then drag this grip here. So just drag that up or down, or left or right. Yep, there we go. Yep, that's working. Okay, so here, again, I'll hide my tree by hiding just the element. When I right click, instead of hiding the category, hide elements. And the reference planes, also I'll hide all of those by using hide in view category. The door and window numbers we haven't looked at yet, so don't worry if you're missing those. And the dimensions as well, we're going to look at those afterwards, so I'll delete that dimension. Okay, so that's looking a lot tidier, and it's it's good practice to do that before you try and put a view on a sheet. Make it as tidy as you can, and then it's a better starting point. It'll let you put the view on any time, but again, if it's a bit neater than it was, then usually easy to work with. So again, back here I'll drag this view onto the page now. You'll see when you go to place extra views, if it can line things up, it'll try to do that. So once I come down and have this lined up with the previous plan, I'll get a dashed line to show me that. And notice it's even clever enough to line the tags up. I don't need to move that again.
So you don't scale them before you put them on the sheet?
No, well the scale's already set. So you might have seen in the view, we originally had the scale set to 1 to 100.
Oh, right.
And so it picks all of that up, same way AutoCAD does. And so back in Sheets All now, I'll go to make a new sheet and I'll do one with a different scale. So with again, the right-click menu, I'll go to New Sheet over Sheets All. I'll choose the same title block, so I don't need to load again. I've already got the title block I want, so I'll just click OK. And then this time, I'm going to try putting a site plan, maybe, something different. So the site plan shows the building from above. Again, I don't really want those elevations, so I'll hide those right away. But I do want to keep the trees this time. Don't want the reference planes, so I'll hide them.
Can I just ask you,
Yeah, sure.
you put in those reference planes, say you want to bring them back for any reason?
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, so
Bring them back?
yeah, so the light bulb down the bottom
Yeah.
is going to reveal any hidden elements. So once you click on that, anything that's hidden will come in that purpley pink colour, and if you select one of them, you'll see on the ribbon up the top, it tells you how it was hidden, and you get the option to either unhide element or unhide category. And then click on the light bulb again, and you're back to normal. Also, if you can remember that method in the notes, I'll come up in a minute. So if you had a look at the part, it's actually on the next page in the notes, but you might have read ahead. You can go to visibility in properties. You've got visibility over here. Don't worry about that second bit, graphics overrides. Just look at visibility, and you'll see then the edit button next to it will give you your visibility settings. And looking down in the list here, there are a few things already hidden. These are all the things you've been making, like walls and doors and windows. On annotation categories, you'll find one that I hid just then, reference planes. So that's another way of bringing them back if I turn it on there. But usually the light bulb is more visual way of doing it. So also the doors. I probably don't want those door swings to come out on my site plan, so I can, again, just hide those in this view. Right, and they're still going to show on my other floor plan. And then a site plan, do you know the scale you normally have your site plans at? Oh, okay, yeah, 1 to 200. So floor plans can be 1 to 100 or 1 to 50 for interiors sometimes even. But site plans are usually at a smaller scale. So here you can see the scales that we have in the list, all your standard scales in the view. I'm going to set it to 1 to 200. And it's done a few things like hiding the sections as well automatically, which is a nice thing. And then back on my sheet, you'll see if I go and drag this site view now, which you'll all have, and place it on the sheet, it's much smaller than the plans on the other sheet. Okay, so you can see on the tag, it tells you the scale. You can change it any time. If I select the plan there, in properties you can see the scale, the same as we had before, and I could choose 1 to 200 or 1 to 50 just to show you the different sizes. But for this sheet, we really need it to be 1 to 100. And then on the next page, so this might be your cover page. Often you'll have the site plan on your first sheet. And so I'll put a 3D view. You can do it either way. So it does, yeah. No. No, that's right, exactly. Yeah, so that's where BIM software is different. Everything's tied together a lot more and linked essentially. So yes, that's a really good point. And so the 3D views here can be put onto the sheet just like the plan views, and they also have a scale. So this in properties here lets me change the scales in the same way as you can by opening the view and choosing the scale down here. Now I'll do it back on the sheet just so you can see it, and then I'll give some time to try these things. So that view is at the moment still set to hidden line. You'll see in properties, you can try and work it out, you can change the shading to realistic or any of those other modes that you've been using. But just so it's clear, I'll go back into that view, so it's view 1 southwest, and I'll do it here, so I'll change that to realistic. And then, so I can see the tree and everything, and maybe I'll even go back into the floor plan and I'll add some more trees. Well, I'll do this on the site plan because that's a bit clearer. So the trees you can get just by clicking on component, and you'll see in the list of already loaded families you will have some trees there even without loading any. Exactly. That's right, in planting, yep. And so let's get some different trees.
Sorry, what is component? Component just has a few standard things in it.
Yeah, everything that doesn't have its own tool. So doors and windows have their own tool, columns do, but everything else you get to with component. So the furniture and all the main things like that. Okay, so I've got these extra trees, and so then back in my sheet, those have been added automatically to this 3D view and also to the site plan. I might move that tag away. And then maybe just to show you a couple of other things with the sheet generally. We've got this title block that I haven't really looked at much. I'm just going to select it to finish off, and then I'll put the name of that page in just by selecting anywhere on the border. You can do this at any point. I'll change this from unnamed to maybe cover sheet, just cover. I'll change the drawing number, so anything that goes blue you can usually change. This one, unfortunately, it's all blue, but again, just try hovering over any of the text, and the ones that come up with a box that you can click on, you can change. So I'll make this A 101. And then I'll go to the previous page and we'll make this plans or something. Notice it's even picked up the scale and put that in. Yeah, it'll work it out for you. So I'll just make one last sheet, and I'll do this a bit quicker, but you can, I'm sure, work most of this out. The section views that you've been using, you can obviously open and look at them. You'll see they have a crop region around them. So this rectangle on the outside, you can use that if you drag on the grips, and bring it closer to the building, just to make it not so large. And then also I'll hide this section line, because you don't often want to see section lines in your section views. So I'll just you've opened the file, so just close that file just on the main menu. Just go to close on the big R. Just choose that and then close down the bottom and just say no. Yep, there we go. So here I've got the section line. I'll just hide that category. And I just wanted to show you when you put a section view onto a sheet, it'll do something you might have thought a bit about, but maybe hadn't known how to do. So I'll just drag it on. Section 1. 1 to 100 is the scale. Maybe that's a good one I can show you. 1 to 50. So I'll delete that view and open it up and change the scale to 1:50. And back onto the sheet, I'll drag it on again. It just helps to, again, resize that tag. So we've got the section there, and then the final thing I want to show you, if I go back to the plan, now the referencing's done. So you might have been looking at your section line, seeing the dash there inside your section marker, and not knowing how to change those numbers. It's only when you put them onto sheets that those will then be done for you automatically. You don't need to do your own referencing, which is a massive thing. Having to do referencing manually is really time consuming. And so again, I could change this name, but that's not so important. Okay, so I've just finished that video there. I'll have a look at any issues you've got.